Good morning, viewers. It's Thursday morning, April 3, 2025, and I'm your host, Sunil Thakker of Sunny Talks Money. Welcome to ST Money 7 a.m. early morning news, where we provide you the latest, concise, and precise stock market wrap with accurate figures and numbers. US stock indexes finished higher after a choppy trading session on Wednesday, falling early and then rebounding as investors made last minute bets to position themselves ahead of US President Donald Trump's sweeping tariff announcements due later in the day. Ahead of Trump's announcement on Wednesday, stocks shook off early losses with all three majors gaining ground as the S&P 500 gained 38 points or 0.67% to 5,671. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose to 35 points or 0.56% to 42,225, and the Nasdaq Composites climbed 151 points or 0.87% to 17,601. Some tariffs, including on steel, aluminum, and autos, have already been announced, although the main thrust of Trump's tariff policy was unveiled during a White House Rose Garden ceremony held at 4 p.m. ETD yesterday. President Trump announced that the U.S. will impose a 10% tariff on all imports and even higher rates for some nations in a series of moves he declared Liberation Day for U.S. trade policy. The president said he would make America wealthy again by announcing reciprocal tariffs on countries across the world, but said America would be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff because US is kind. Trump held up a chart with a list of countries which had China at 34% tariff, then for Europe 20% and Japan 24%. US stock futures were under pressure late Wednesday afternoon after President Trump announced reciprocal tariffs on a range of US trading partners at an event held at the White House. Near 4:45 p.m. ET, S&P 500 futures were down 1.7%, Nasdaq 100 futures were off 2.5%, while futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.7%. Volatility has gripped U.S. markets in recent weeks as investors speculated about the scope of tariffs and their impact on global economy, inflation, and corporate earnings. The CBOE Volatility Index, known as Wall Street's Fear Gauge, was at 21.51 points at a level last seen in mid-March. Big tech names offered support to benchmarks on Wednesday, maintaining the previous session's upward momentum. Tesla shares helped lead the reversal. The stock had earlier nearly fallen 5% after the EV maker's first quarter deliveries came in weaker than expected. But after Politico reported that Trump has told members of his cabinet and other close contacts that his billionaire ally Elon Musk, CEO of the electric vehicle maker, will soon step back from his government role, shares jumped 5.3%. Tesla had reported a 13% drop in first quarter deliveries. Its advance helped the Consumer Discretionary Index, which rose 2%, the best performing of the 11 S&P sectors. Among other Magnificent Seven names, Amazon.com gained 2% after it was reported the company was bidding for short video platform TikTok. Among the newest public companies, CoreWeave continued its recovery from a rocky first two trading days, with the artificial intelligence startup building on the previous session's gains with a 16.7% advance. However, conservative news provider Newsmax, which had posted triple-digit percentage gains on its first 2 days, retreated significantly, slumping 77.5% on the day. On the data front, U.S. private payrolls growth accelerated in March, and new orders for U.S. manufactured goods increased solidly in February, likely as business front-loaded orders ahead of tariffs. Focus will now switch to crucial monthly non-farm payrolls data, as well as Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's speech on Friday for insights into the health of the U.S. economy and trajectory of interest rates. The 10-year Treasury yield inched up about 4 basis points to 4.19%, moving off a recent 6-month low. My take. Words from President Trump matters. They can and do change policy and the way the world, and more so how corporate America responds to things. Investors are now watching for greater details on the finer points of what specifically will attract tariffs as well as for the processes for implementing there. And that's the weight the world is feeling right now. Even now, markets remain in the dark as to what the new reciprocal duties will entail and how big the potential shock to the US economy will be. Fears are that the duties could spur a full on trade war as countries respond with their own retaliatory tariffs. Do not expect a blast, nor see the stock market having a big overreaction. And that's the wrap for today, my dear viewers. And if you got value from this, please do subscribe, like, and share this video as much as possible. You can contact me at st@st-money.com for any further information. I'll see you again tomorrow morning. In the meantime, happy investing, stay inspired, and remember, it's all about money.